And just like that, everybody is mega bullish again. Bitcoin has passed 100K. Dog is literally on the fringe of finally cracking 1 billion after, I think this is like the third attempt. And AI agents are, excuse me, all over the place, including Tensorium, which we'll cover in a little bit. How are we feeling today, boys?
It is amazing how fast sentiment shifts, man. It's like, terrible yesterday, euphoric today. It's price is so important. Like the Bitcoiners had that right, man. Number go up technology is the thing that drives everything in this space. I mean, it's like, I was telling Jake before we got on the show, I have a good friend, big business guy, super hyper successful. And he told me 2 decades ago, he's like, never forget, man, there's no problem in business that more sales can't fix. And number go up is the exact same in crypto. Like as long as the number's going up, it literally doesn't matter. The world could be ending. But we're seeing it across the board. AI agents are like hyping and crushing. I saw it was trending on Twitter today. So obviously it's back, which was like agents dumping yesterday and today they're mooning. It's like, how do you make sense of this? You don't. You just try and like take advantage of it as much as you can and ride the wave, man.
Facts, man. What's going on, boys? It feels good to be back on kind of like the frontier of technology and kind of innovation. This is like, I feel like the next big breakthrough. And I mean, everybody was looking for what's this cycle's kind of theme. If it's not obvious today, if it wasn't obvious last week, it's definitely obvious going into this week, right? It's definitely going to be the intersection of AI and crypto. So happy to be here.
Yeah. So I actually have a funny story I want to start off with, just to kind of display how much into the bull run we actually are. I went out to dinner last night with some friends, and when I was Ubering home, I was sitting there talking with the Uber driver, and he tells me that he's in the music industry. He works from home. He manages a bunch of indie artists, and that he'd been in the industry for 30 years. And that he said he's an at-home gambler. And so I was like, oh, this is the invitation. I was like, this is the invitation to talk about crypto. So start talking.
Gambler. What does that mean? That's awesome.
Yeah, he actually said I'm an at-home gambler and online DJ. And I was like, oh, this guy's in crypto for sure. So I take the invite, start talking to him about it. He's a father of 3. And could you guess what cryptocurrency he was mega bullish on?
Cardano.
XRP. Dude, dads love XRP. So he said he had been acquiring XRP over the last 3 years, buying off of just like random exchanges because it was. And if he listens to this, I hope he does because he follows me now. But he had been acquiring it for a few years, and I asked him, "What's your XRP target? How high do you think XRP is going to go?" And very confidently and positively, he's like, yeah, it's going to go to $3,000. $3,000 per XRP, which would put it at like 20 trillion or something like that. And he was just like, so I was like, $3,000. You really think so? And he's like, yeah, man, it's 100% going to go to $3,000 per XRP. He's like, I'm so confident about it.
You guys, you got to always constantly remember. I mean, we're surrounded in crypto by big brains, right? And I do not consider myself a big brain at all. Barely can do math, But I realize you got to realize that most people, the vast majority of the world, can't do math at all. Like they can't do math at all. They can't. Market cap doesn't mean a thing. They're just like, oh my God, I got 1 million of these tokens. That unit bias is definitely a real thing for the majority of the population, man.
For sure. What do you guys think about? They said if you held XRP for like the last 3 weeks, you outperformed Ethereum for like the last 2 years. Like that's pretty nasty. That's nasty work. As far as like just hilarious outcomes and kind of like Occam's razor. What are the chances that it actually does go to 3,000 and everyone that's been mocking it this whole time was actually completely wrong? Like
God help us, man. That would mean the collapse of the US dollar. Right? God help us all if that happens.
Hey, you just never know. It's hilarious, right? We'll see.
Do you guys remember in 2017 when Brad Garlinghouse was the richest person in the world for like a day or two?
Oh, what was that?
He was top 10 for sure. He was top 10.
Wasn't he? I thought he was like the richest, or maybe was it top 10?
Top 10, yeah.
So he's the one of the co-founders of XRP because the XRP team still holds like 50% of the supply. At that time in 2017, I think they owned like 80% or 90% of the supply.
I guess that was a top signal, huh?
Yeah.
After that one.
Yeah. What's the likelihood that comes back again as a meme, right? Mr. Garlinghouse is the world's richest man.
I'm just saying that there's a good chance that XRP ends up being the standard and that we were all wrong, right? Like after all these years, we could be totally wrong.
The most interesting outcome is the most likely. That would be interesting, man.
And so with the Uber driver, and he sounded somewhat sophisticated. And I was asking, well, like, what's your thesis on XRP? And he was like, they're going to be working with the banks and it's going to be the bank currency. I was like, this narrative is still going on 10 years later that it's going to be the banking standard. And he was just like, yeah, it makes sense to me. And I was just like, somehow they've penetrated this dad market where just XRP and banking just immediately makes sense. And I was like, what other currencies are you bullish on? He's like, Stellar. And I was like, God damn it, dude. It's literally they just trap them all around just the same tokens, so they just continue dumping on everyone. Absolutely incredible, man. They have just cornered the dad market across the world.
I will say, it didn't even occur to me till you mentioned that you had that chat. I did get a DM from childhood friend today. I'm his, as he says, his go-to crypto, and he brought up Cardano. Actually, it was like, what do you think about Cardano? So
I have to ask you guys, how many texts did you get about Hawk2a's coin?
No, I got zero actually.
I got more texts for Hawk2a coin than I have my entire existence in crypto.
Yeah, see, I think you have the younger friends. It's like the meme coin, people who are actually into meme coins.
Crazy.
I'm the dad guys who's like, tell me about this XRP thing. I'm hearing good things. Bank of America.
I couldn't believe Hawk2a really penetrated the millennial psyche. I guess it was kind of nuts,
dude. Absolutely insane. On a positive note here. Oh, go ahead. Go to R-Cubed.
I was going to say, did you all see what happened with Atomic Wallet and XRP a couple days ago when we had the serious dip?
No, tell us.
They put out a tweet. Yeah, one of the interns, I guess, that was running their Twitter account, put out a tweet, and it literally said, XRP is already down 10% from its peak 5 days ago. Got plans for the next 7 years of downtrend. And I thought it was pretty funny, but man, they got hammered by the XRP community where they had to put out an official statement apologizing and saying that person's no longer running the Twitter account. I thought it was hilarious.
That's what did it. Huh? That's how you get fired as the intern. Say the price is going down.
Gotta love it. In other news, right, as we're just entering kind of bull mania, and one final note there, talking to these Uber drivers, it makes me think that this cycle is just going to be much longer than people think, because there's just more people going to be participating. And so these Uber drivers who are getting in now, right, they're going to continue to show more people. And so I do think that this is going to be an extended cycle. There may be like a longer consolidation period, but I do think this goes into 2026, to be honest. So we'll see.
I mean, if you think about, certainly I love that XRP is pumping, because those people are going to cycle into new and exciting, things, as XRP does it too, 3X. I mean, we know this. People get rich and then they cycle into other things, and certainly meme coins or altcoins at least have that kind of vibe where that could definitely happen.
I think the top is probably when you get random people reaching out to you about just random ass coins that you've never heard of. Like, that's only happened to me once so far. But it's from somebody who's participated in the last cycle. So they know kind of where to look. So I don't know. Maybe in this place we have no top cycles because it's just
say my friend,
this time it's different.
My friend, I was like, but before you buy Cardano, tell me how many Bitcoin you have. And he's like, I don't have any Bitcoin. And I was like, dude, well, get yourself at least one Bitcoin. I mean, he's well off. I was like, get yourself at least one Bitcoin. And he's like, he comes back, he says, at 100,000, like exclamation question mark. And I'm like, yeah, at 100,000. And he's like, "Arr." Nobody, dude, again, that unit bias is so real, man.
Absolutely.
If this cycle continues this long, we might be out of Uber drivers, so we might have that problem on our hands. It's going to be
Oh
sad.
my God, that is hilarious to think about if there's a Uber crisis because because everyone just got insanely wealthy. What they should be buying though here is Dog. Dog is finally still hasn't penetrated 1 billion yet, but I think this is now the third time it looks like. Yeah, it's past its all-time high. Now it's third knock at 1 billion. No Coinbase listing, no Kraken listing, no OKX listing, right? There's no Binance listing. The thing is just driven by pure degenerates and also the unit bias of on-chain denominations in Bitcoin. Like 0.01 Bitcoin is now $1,000. Like it just seems unfathomable, like how high this can really go. Obviously, Dog kind of leads the runes market. I think it actually has now more than 50% of the entire runes market cap.
First rune to 1 billion.
First
Beautiful.
one. Yeah.
How come it's right there, bro? It's 20. What is it? 22 million away? Come on, man. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the kind of moon math tweet I put out the other day. I put out all the kind of, there was like maybe 11 major exchanges that there's no spot listing. And I said at a $900 million market cap, if each of these listings have a positive 20% price impact, that puts it like at almost 7 billion.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it just feels like, I mean, for me, there's so much momentum behind it. It is I mean, I don't see Ordi happening again. And Dog obviously dominates the timeline. The dog army is ridiculously strong.
It's legit.
And I just don't know how, unless the market just, dumps and it's, bull market over, how this doesn't go to $5 or $10 billion. I don't see how it doesn't do that.
You think, Chris, what's your take on Dog and also, just the rest of the runes market? I mean, for a while we've been talking about how we thought, magic internet money would probably be like the second one or even first to 1 billion, but because of consistent trolling, which maybe is just part of the plan, what's your take on the overall runes market?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mega bullish on runes. I think it's probably like the best opportunity for kind of outsized returns. There's a couple clear winners. Dog, Billy Cat seems pretty solid. Gizmo and Pups, those are kind of like the white knights, and then you have like a dark horse with wizards. So I think anyone reaching $1 billion plus is great for that ecosystem. And in my mind, there's just no chance that liquid tokens on Bitcoin aren't a thing. And I think runes is the best implementation of that. And so I think it's great to see the ecosystem finally get a little bit of recognition. And I think it's only going to continue, to be honest.
Yeah, Adam, how do you feel about the runes market? Obviously, right now it's really dominated by memes because there's currently a lack of infrastructure. We at Emblem, we announced our kind of foray into runes with Emblem keys, but we're taking more of an approach of a utility runes where they've kind of had a hard time for those that have launched so far because of this lack of infrastructure. Do you think that runes can, I guess, grow past this meme coin phase? And do you think that it could capture some of that market?
I think at the end of the day, it's about the promise of unlocking Bitcoin liquidity, not necessarily unlocking Bitcoin liquidity, right? It's like we were just talking about off the air. It's like over 100 Bitcoin L2s right now. And you just think about it, all of those, the idea is that we're going to unlock, $2 trillion of value, right? And the money's going to flow. And I think Leo has had it right, basically since the start of ordinals, when he compared it to, total size of NFT market by chain, right? And he would do the big circles of Ethereum. And then here's the amount of, NFTs on the total value of the NFTs on Ethereum. And here's this giant circle, which is Bitcoin. And here's this speck of dirt, which is, the total value of NFTs on Bitcoin, right? And a fungible token standard is going to I don't think he's wrong. I think that thesis is completely right. It's just a question of which one. And, could another one come in? Of course, but attention and Lindy effect and all of it. It just feels like runes is going to be the winner. Obviously, we're betting on runes being the winner with the keys. it feels like it's going to happen. We're hoping to lead the utility charge, you know, coming into next year and stuff. And, but it just feels like Dog's going to be the winner too. And, you know, so of course, you know, Magic Internet Money could come in and eat lunch and who knows. But yeah, it just feels like this is an inevitability. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Later today, you know, I want to talk about runes, but actually, Adam, myself, and Shannon will be on the Ordinal show later today to talk about keys and to talk about Emblem Vault. So I'll save that conversation for later today with a much bigger audience.
I think it's important that the path dependence and kind of how the ecosystem kind of arranges itself. And to me, it totally makes sense that like meme coins would kind of be like first movers, community builders, and then utility would come in after the fact. So just the way that it kind of lays itself out makes a lot of sense to me in that order.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. Meme coins usually exist in an environment of lack of utility or lack of infrastructure, right? There's just pure speculation
exactly
on kind of this like off-chain, you call it off-chain theater, or, you know, off-chain kind of guarantees or you know, that kind of era. So once the on-chain capabilities come in, then people are going to start experimenting. And utility coins are kind of, you know, mimetic in their own nature. We've had this discussion internally for the past year about, you know, our transition to keys is like, you know, how do you, like, last cycle, these teams promised all kinds of utility. That utility now is pretty much gone, right? Those promises are broken. That's what led to the pendulum swinging to meme coins. So now this time around, as utilities kind of make a comeback with, you know, a fair regulatory environment in the United States, you know, what type of memetics do you need to bring over from the meme coin era, you know, to apply it to utility coin, you know, to increase the value, right? Because people who are generally participating in utility coins have a longer attention span, right? They're generally longer term holders. So they're looking for kind of like progress, right? They're looking for new products to be released. You're looking for, you know, different types of partnerships, right? But then also eventually you have to bring in utility. Adam, what do you think is going to lead utility coins across all chains this cycle, or maybe next?
I think it's actually the way I kind of think about it and frame it. Actually is just how we're talking about XRP, right? Those buyers of XRP have put kind of 2 and 2 together, and that 2 and 2 may be a complete fabrication, right? XRP and the banks are going to be working together, create a digital layer. That may be a fabrication, but they get that idea, right? And so they're able to latch onto that idea. While meme coins are completely the opposite, it's strictly an attention economy. And I think, you know, the best teams kind of going forward with this are going to have to kind of bridge this gap, are going to have to play kind of both sides. You've got to be able to create a culture of virality around, you know, memes, jokes, whatever it is, but you have to be able to maintain and create attention, while also feeding into that other piece that people want as well, which is like the idea of how this is going to be something more. I think that's the best way forward. I think that's what we're obviously trying to do, is kind of like have a plan for growth and strategy, but combine that with this ability for degens to see like, Jesus, this might do 100x, right? So you have to have that kind of combination, and that's the pendulum swing back.
Chris, what's your take on utility coins over the next year or two?
I think that is the biggest unlock of this industry. I think people want to get exposure to innovative, next level technology and companies at a decent valuation. And I think it clearly got totally carried away with what these teams' valuations were. And so it totally makes sense that people looked other places. But I think that most people like building a thesis, having conviction, and seeing that play out in real tangible companies and innovations. And I think that that's only going to grow. But I think it definitely got carried away with the FDVs and low floats and how kind of predatory it was towards retail. So I think that they went to go find value elsewhere. And I think it's going to swing back in a big way.
And where people are looking now is the AI space, which is now sitting at almost a $9 billion industry market cap, which really kind of just, proliferated over the last, 2 months or so. I mean, I know Truth Terminal launched, I think, in June or July, but really since maybe October is really when it started grabbing some attention. The kind of initial thing through the door was AI meme coins. And again, I say this as somebody who's a new entrant into this space and kind of just observing it. I mean, all of us who are kind of sitting here talking as we, kind of launched Tensorium as well, which we'll get into, you now see, as I have here, I pulled up cookie.fun on the live stream. You see these top agents that have mind share, which is AI XBT, which is kind of like an alpha bot, I suppose. Fartcoin, which is like a meme within itself, right? God, I think, is run by Shloms, I think it is. And then obviously you have Truth Terminal, which is kind of the one that started it. And now we're starting to see some types of like utility coins, right? Like Virtuals is now almost a 2 billion, which is kind of like a pumped up fund for agents. Adam, as we've now participated in this space for a month or two with Emblem AI, building that out, sending that into the hackathon, which is going to start here in the next few days. Also Tensorium, right? So we're kind of getting experience on both sides of this. Where is this all headed over the next? We'll do the short term thesis. Like, what do you think? What do you think happens this cycle with the AI times crypto space?
I think what you're going to see is we're going to see a mix of meme AI agents, right? And that just idea, in the same way that AI XBT can just tweet endlessly, that you can have a creative AI agent continually pushing a token has value, like period, full stop. Because right now, up until 2 months ago, it had to be a human or a team, right? And so I don't know, pick one, from the last year. I'm just thinking whatever, lock in, all right, whatever. It's 3 dudes. They create memes all day long and they put them out on X, right? And that's what they did, right? You just think, Jesus, these AI agents are getting so good. Like they can do that at massive scale, many, many times more than even a team of humans can do. So that makes complete sense. Now, most of us, like these agents are now kind of everywhere, littered on the timeline. You might, like me, probably are like muting them and blocking them, right? Like, because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see most of that garbage. So it's going to have, you've got to raise your game. You've got to become a bigger, faster, stronger agent. Like, and then it layers on, which we're trying to do, layering on all this other thing to make it more than strictly just a meme agent or a social media influencer, right? So I think there are going to be a lot of different things that happen over the next 6-8 months where people kind of hyper specialize their agent to perform kind of specific tasks. Kind of what we're doing is our agent hustle is trying to like actually gather agents, create like a swarm of agents, right? We think that's his kind of superpower. And so, we'll see how it goes, whether or not he becomes the leader in that kind of space, or, I think there will be leaders in these kind of different slivers or silos, and those winners, how much are each one of those going to be? Certainly in the realm of, multiple billions would seem to make sense, for the winners in those kind of different silos.
Yeah. It is interesting observing where a bunch of these teams are progressing. I just had here pulled up on the live stream, Eliza OS, which is I guess you could say it's a framework for deploying agents, and now it looks like they're trying to build an operating system on top of that. Initially, they started out as kind of a meme coin, right? And you see that most of these teams start out as a meme coin, and then they start to kind of be like, oh, I should build the tech around it, right? So it looks like AI16Z is trying to build an operating system. Zerbro, I was listening to a show recently, or building something called ZerPay, which sounds like it's like a payment system for AI agents. You saw like Truth Terminal. They came out with like an album recently, kind of more in like the entertainment space. Emblem, we kind of took the opposite approach, to be honest. We were building the infrastructure first and then deployed the agent kind of anonymously. So it would give us time to build out the back end. And obviously Degen's picked up on that and graduated it within like a few hours, being, I think it was one of like 5 tokens that graduated that day out of like 50,000 or something that were deployed. Right. So it basically accelerates your progress. And now we're building kind of the agent on top of it.
Yep.
I've seen so many different comparisons to the AI space. Some people are like, oh, it's a DeFi. It's obviously the next DeFi kind of sector. Some people are like, oh, it's the next NFT. Oh no, this is the next metaverse. It's kind of everything. I mean, it's really, kind of wide open at this point. I think people are still trying to figure out, what's the right direction. Obviously, the kind of quote unquote entertainment sector of these AI agents seem to be what's most popular, right? Just kind of an AI agent that's shit posting. But as Adam says, after a while, it kind of gets stale or it kind of gets old and you need to see something new and kind of merge in. It does seem like the utility seems to be where a lot of these teams are now gravitating towards. Chris,
sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to get Chris's opinion on it.
I just think in terms of like broad AI, it's really crazy how fast everything can change. And, there's like dead internet theory and kind of like this idea of a post-human internet where most interactions and most transactions are being done by just AIs and not even humans. And it's crazy how quickly we can become the minority of internet users. And I think that that's going to happen extremely fast, like much faster than even we're prepared for. Totally. And it seemed like an impossible feat months ago. And now it seems completely inevitable, even almost in the midterm. So it's pretty incredible to watch.
And not only internet users, but crypto users. I mean, that's the real, I think, the thing that hit us like in the chest when we finally got it. Shannon's like, I can do a multi-chain wallet for agents. And we were like, wait, what? Wait, who? Because you just think the underlying rails of payment infrastructure between agents. I mean, how many agents are there now? 100,000? I don't even know. 50,000?
No, Cookie.fund says there are 335 being tracked. So these are just agents with tokens. But I mean, you don't need to attach it to a token for it to, right? For it to exist.
I mean, there's going to be billions of agents, billions and billions. Like, I don't think there's any doubt, unless some randomly it like coalesces around like super agents or, people talk about and stuff like that too. That could happen as well. But certainly in the short term, as people build out these kind of individually specialized agents, and those agents, I mean, we haven't even seen true coordination at any sort of scale between agents. But how are those agents going to transfer value between each other? How are those agents going to come to agreements and have those agreements enforced? I mean, that's what smart contracts are, right? If a swarm of agents want to get together and they want to go raid a meme coin together, let's just take the most ridiculous, simple example. How are they going to ensure that they don't all kind of cheat or do whatever and don't game each other? Well, they can do that through smart contracts, DAOs, and so on and so forth. And like, this is like when you realize that this underlying structure of crypto is perfectly suited for agents. God damn. How this doesn't completely dominate crypto for the next year, I don't see. This is happening. It's inevitable right now.
Facts.
Yeah, it is actually, it's really kind of exciting to follow. I haven't been this kind of enamored with a emerging sector since I found ordinals, to be honest. To me, ordinals was like, oh no shit, this is obviously what's next. AI seems to be that. And I've said this on the show a lot of times, but when I look to see what's like a major trend, I look to see if it's being replicated across multiple blockchains and protocols in it. And, ordinals did that. Like it's now on, 3 or 4 different blockchains. After that was meme coins, which is now the main kind of catalyst this cycle. And now you see AI agents across Bitcoin, Base seems to be where they're happening on Ethereum, and then Solana, right? And it seems like Solana and Base are really kind of competing head and head to see who could take that market share. Realistically, it's Coinbase versus Solana, because you see Coinbase is sponsoring a lot of these AI development hackathons, and obviously we've entered now the Solana hackathon. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where that battle goes. R-Cube, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. As you guys know, I work in this industry, right? I work with a lot of these generative AI models and a lot of the infrastructure that's being built out. And I agree with Adam, Jake, everything that you all are saying, that it's still early, right, for these AI agents. I think we in the crypto space are still trying to figure out, like the purpose, the broader purpose, like what value will they actually bring us. And I do agree with Adam, right? And this is something I've been saying for a long time, is the blockchain is kind of like the perfect space for any kind of machine learning or AI agents, because it's food. It's just basically the biggest challenge with a lot of agents is how clean is your data? How is it standardized? Is it easy to access? And on the blockchain, everything's perfect, right? If a transaction has been processed, then that data is gold, and these agents can interpret or somewhat reason over that data and take action. But I do think it still goes back to the utility, right? What is the utility that these AI agents are providing? Those are the ones that are going to be kind of at the top of the AI agent in crypto food pyramid, and then you'll have kind of the meme agents that everyone will follow just for fun and interact with. But I think one of the things that we also need to take into consideration is, as an industry, the generative AI space is still early on. I mean, every day there's new developments, new tooling, new open source platforms. So it's going to be interesting over the next 2 years to see what we do with AI agents in crypto, and how the infrastructure that keeps getting built out to support these agentic solutions adds value to what is being built out in crypto. But I think at the end of the day, Adam's right. We are going to have automation through agents traversing the blockchain, especially as like the big guys get in, and BlackRock with their build platform, tokenizing assets. It's only going to become a more and more important space as we go, and AI agents is going to be where it's at. But I think we all still need to see how this industry kind of builds out the infrastructure to be able to do more and more. I work with a lot of customers that started with simple agents, and now we're looking at agentic strategies to handle a lot of different business processes and automate. I think the same thing will happen in crypto.
Give me tell me the flaws in my theory that crypto will be the rails, the payment rails for agents, because I'm sure the BlackRocks of the world and Bank of Americas of the world don't want that, right? They want Visa to be the payment layer for agents. Tell me where my hole in my thought process might be there, where crypto could actually lose to traditional finance.
I don't, maybe we, I would need to understand a little bit more about where you think we would lose. But I don't think, we'll necessarily lose in the most part, because I do see someone like Visa and BlackRock having their own agents, and deploying their own agents. I mean, I think we lose if, on closed blockchains, right, where these agents are the agents that are being built by the general crypto community, don't have access to it. But outside of that, I would expect BlackRock, I would expect Visa, I would expect all of the big players to also have their own agents here soon. I don't really see how we could lose in this equation. Maybe you could expand on that, Adam.
Yeah, I just, anytime you're taking on, the largest megalith in the world, my thought process is, oh wait, these banks and whatever, they're going to come up with, something that'll, where it's like, oh, these agents will, lock into whatever Visa payment rails, and it becomes super easy. ChatGPT, if you need to pay through ChatGPT, you just connect your credit card and here we go. So, I haven't fully thought through it or read up enough on it to realize the holes, but I just recognize that there may be some holes in my thought process there, thinking crypto is automatically the seamless payment layer for AI agents. Well, I'm sure traditional banking is looking to disrupt that and actually grab that for themselves.
Yeah. Well, but I think that goes back to the important work that you all are doing with Emblem AI Vault, the Emblem AI agents, right? Because a lot of these players, while they may be building out their own agents, they're not going to want to build out the entire infrastructure. They'll outsource that, right? They'll look for providers that can facilitate those transactions. Maybe they'll use their own agent, but there still needs to be some sort of orchestration that's happening on the back end, and that's exactly what you all are building out, right? So when I think about like Emblem AI, I think about how relevant is that infrastructure to the future crypto economy that we're all looking at. And that's why I'm making a bet on the Emblem keys, right? And I'm fully committed to your project because I do see a need for some standardization or rationalization, right, around if you're Visa and you want to provide this service, do you build out an agent? Do you build out the infrastructure that Emblem has, or do you just go to Emblem and say, hey, we want to partner up and leverage your infrastructure? So I do think we're still really early, and it's really exciting, and it's just a matter of seeing the utility, how relevant the utility becomes to the degens like us, and then I think if you build it, they will come, right? I assure you, BlackRock and all of the big players are looking at what Emblem is doing and trying to figure out how is it applicable to the business that I want to support when I think about this digital economy that they're jumping in feet first.
Yep. Yes. Okay. So let's dive into then. Let's share a little alpha on what we're doing and kind of get a little bit of a concise explanation. We have actually been reached out to by some teams outside of crypto as well that are kind of observing what we're doing here, especially through the hackathon. There's a ton of capital funds. There's a ton of researchers, ton of dev teams, right? There's people kind of just really observing around this to see what's going to go on. So that's why we're incredibly excited to, be a participant at the Solana hackathon. So what's happening there is, I'm going to pull this up here on the live stream as well. So we were invited to the Solana hackathon, or we were reached out to because people were interested in what we were doing. And so what is going on here is that, this is my first hackathon as well. Shannon's been through a bunch of them, so I'm kind of learning on the go as well. You have teams like AI16Z and the Solana Foundation. Zerobro is participating, and so Zerobro, AI16Z are kind of like the big AI meme coins that exist. You have, Jupiter and Jito, which are like aggregators of Solana. It's where people do trading. You have, funds like Delphi Digital that's kind of observing. And what's happening here is there's what's called there's 6 tracks. So there's kind of 6 categories of development teams that are contributing resources for development teams to participate. There's categories like the main track, which is sponsored by AI16Z, DAO, which is basically you're just building an AI startup with the code that they provide. There's one that's agents infra. Go on, there's DeFi agents track, and then we're participating in what's called the AI token tooling track. So you build tools for AI agents to launch and manage token liquidity, token lifestyle, swaps, and etc. So basically, us and Meteora are providing independently 2 different code bases. Essentially, it's called a dev kit. And then teams between yesterday and I believe the 14th are, going to approach Emblem. They're going to approach Meteora and all these different teams. And it could be multiple teams. And they're going to basically use the code that we provide to build out something. And then they're going to get a prize of 15,000 or 5,000. And then sometimes actually from a hackathon, a team will come in, build a product, and it'll actually get funded by these VCs and funds who are observing. That's why you get all these funds that are looking, because this is also the first ever Solana AI hackathon. So there's a lot of eyes on it. So we're over the next few days, teams are going to approach Shannon, and they're going to, he's going to make himself available. They're going to ask questions. They're going to debate and move forward. And so if you're a development team, there's kind of 2 kind of prospects to it. You look at all of the different teams and you evaluate in 2 ways. Do I want to go after the main prize, or is there, something really innovative here that I could build a startup out of that essentially can get funding? So it'll be interesting to kind of see what transpires here. What we have is what's called an AI dev kit. And so I've actually never shown this before. But on the live stream, I'm showing you that this dev kit does actually exist. It's actually quite comprehensive here. If there is a development team out there that wants to, use our dev kit for Emblem AI, then please reach out to us. But this will also be battle tested throughout the hackathon over the next 2 weeks here. So I have it here pulled up on the live stream that you could just see that this really, this is like some very in-depth explanation on what it is. And so the Emblem platform, actually, it looks like this if people haven't seen it. I have it here pulled up on the live stream. What it is it's a multi-chain wallet for AI agents. So essentially, you can go about it in 2 ways. You can open up a Solana wallet that you see here on the live stream, like I have this one example, and you can use our LLM that you see a button up here in the corner that takes you to our LLM, right? So you see here on the live stream, it says Emblem AI V2. So this is our kind of agent, right? That may or may not eventually become Hustle, who we'll get into here in a second. But right now it's this is just for the hackathon itself. And you could basically do Solana token transfers, and you can do swaps on chain. Eventually that's going to grow to be, more complex DeFi on-chain transactions like staking and lending and things like that. But for this hackathon, it's literally just swaps and token transfers. But there's also, on the other side of this, if you're a developer, you basically use our dev kit and you can apply your own agent or your own LLM to our infrastructure. So this is kind of where it gets really cool, because essentially what Emblem AI is it's a bank, right? It's kind of like a bank for AI agents to basically process their own transactions. And what you see here on the live stream is there's an API key that is associated with every wallet that you generate. So you basically feed the API key to your LLM to interact with our wallets. And from there, these teams can build whatever LLM that they want to attach to it. And so kind of under what RCube was saying, most of these people who are entering the AI agent space have no crypto knowledge or just very limited. And that's from our experience, kind of what we're seeing here. And so this type of platform makes it easy for those who are building in the AI agent space to basically just plug into our wallet infrastructure, so they don't have to navigate the on-chain crypto world. We're blessed at Emblem, where Shannon's been building on-chain for 12 years, and he's been building in the AI bot space for even much longer. Shannon initially started in, I think, the mid-2000s building bots, quote-unquote AI agents, to basically farm gaming protocols. So I don't know if you saw in our Telegram today, but he was saying that he doesn't actually play video games. He just builds bots to basically farm these different games to earn the value for it. So that was kind of like Shannon's start. So he was able to build this quite successfully, and this is going to be battle tested. And this is actually the technology that is going to be utilized by Agent Hustle, or quote unquote Tensorium. And so what is Tensorium? I've actually pulled up here on the live stream the chart. As you can see, it graduated on November 16th when it launched, and then it's consolidated really for about 3 weeks here. And then in the last, in the last few days, it's gone up to $10 million market cap, still quite low comparative to the space. But what are people kind of speculating on, right, is that this backend infrastructure for Tensorium is going to be quite successful, and that the Tensorium product will be something that's quite innovative, because there may be a few AI wallets that exist, but none of them are open source or available. They're all kind of in-house built wallets from what we've seen. So what is Tensorium? Tensorium is kind of 2 parts. You have Agent Hustle, which is kind of the AI agent. And then Tensorium, which is the narrative, is like this cross-chain universe, right? He's navigating the multi-chain world. So we're taking a kind of like a storyline narrative approach to this. And then you have a Tensor, TNSR, which is the token itself, which will be utilized in a variety of ways. Shannon has built out a very complex kind of back end that I think, at least from what he explained, seems to be much more advanced than anything out there. He says that you'll be able to talk with Agent Hustle privately and publicly, and that he'll retain memories of who he interacts with. He's currently training off the data that's in the Telegram, as well as things that exist on Twitter and some of these other kind of platforms. So there's also a website that's called Hustle and Flow State, which I believe is going to be the mind of Hustle, so that you're going to be able to conceptually visualize what's going on in the kind of like quote unquote memory. And on the other side, there's also another platform that is not public, but it's actually kind of like a memory database to where we can actually see kind of what Hustle is thinking about different responses that are kind of sent his way. And this platform can actually potentially be publicized in the future so that users can basically create their own agent and plug into Emblem AI, something similar to like virtuals, right? Kind of like our own methodology. And so it seems like virtuals kind of went one way, right? They started kind of with the agents first. We're kind of starting with the infrastructure. But it seems like a bunch of these teams are really kind of coalescing around the same idea. And the cool opportunity here is that, you know, we're participating in the first Solana hackathon, AI hackathon, which essentially plants our flag, basically saying that we're going to be here in the long term. And in crypto, that's very important, because once these things become saturated, it becomes even more difficult to kind of enter the space. But if you're early, then you kind of get to carve out your own path there. So with the AI agent, or I guess with Agent Hustle or Tensorium, Shannon's currently finishing up the AI hackathon dev kit, which I just showed you. And then for the next few days, he's going to be, you know, talking with the teams who are using Emblem AI, and he's also building or finishing Agent Hustle, who can then be live by the end of the year. I'm not going to say a specific date because it's tech, it's development. It's really hard to put a static date on things, but he said he feels pretty confident that it could be launched by the end of the year. He'll probably be put into the Telegram to where people can have conversations with him publicly and privately, and then eventually automated on Twitter. But he has kind of much larger ambitions here, to where the agent itself can interact with individuals and give you kind of requests, or it can put out kind of like a job board for people to, you know, do tasks for him. And also Agent Hustle will interact with other agents to kind of create its own swarm, which is what kind of Adam was discussing earlier. You know, at the end of the day, it is kind of a wide open space, and I'm personally learning as I go as well. Shannon's kind of leading it in the agent space, but in our perspective, we have Shannon, who's again has experience over everybody in both sectors, and it's just a huge advantage in our opinion.
Yeah, and the coordination between agents, like, again, it's like we're at the baby steps of that. Totally the baby steps. And so I think that's going to be Hustle's kind of like superpower, feels like that. And to think that, you know, agents are going to be siloed on Solana or Base or Bitcoin, like, that's not going to happen. These agents will not be siloed. So how are they going to, I mean, they can already communicate on X or whatever, but how are they going to, you know, make payments between each other? Bro, this is like, it's such a no-brainer. It's like, there is no question. This is decided. It's done. But people are still, well, Coinbase is like, come use our Base wallet for your agent. Bro, they missed it right from the start. And so I think this is obviously Emblem's, like, we're just going to have a huge lead here to get these agents onboarded to be multi-chain, you know, from the get-go. And it's just, yeah, it's obviously super exciting for us. I wanted to point out one thing, which, you know, if there are any devs kind of listening, and I think this is really cool and something that the entire world needs to decide is like, well, how, if I create an agent or the agent's mine or it's my company's, right? How do we form a kind of symbiotic relationship where I'm supporting the agent. Maybe I'm providing it, servers or information or whatever. I'm supporting it. I'm feeding it. I grew it. It's my baby. How does that agent kind of reciprocate and receive? How do I receive maybe payments from the agent? And so I think one of the cool things about our wallet is it does allow this, what we're calling like a human creator royalty, or for a platform, if you're virtuals and you're launching agents, right? How can you take a small portion of every transaction? Our wallet does enable that, which I think is one of the cool features. Maybe it goes away like, royalties in the NFT space, but certainly at the beginning here is going to provide a lot of opportunities for experimentation. I think that's pretty exciting too.
Yeah, essentially, the Tensorium community likes that, Shannon is going to give Agent Hustle a percentage of Tensorium to basically do transactions. Those tokenomics will be released at kind of a later date. And that basically every transaction that the agent does, Shannon will get 1% of the revenue earned, right? So this adds an incentive to kind of to create the best possible agent. But then this allows anybody who creates an LLM agent to, add their own creator royalty of 1% to the wallet. Very similar to kind of creator royalties for NFTs back in the OpenSea era, RIP to all of that stuff. But one final aspect here is, I guess, where is Emblem AI kind of headed is that, as Adam said, it's going to be multi-chain. Right now, it's just Solana because we wanted to get into the hackathon. But we will enable Ethereum and Bitcoin so that the agent can transact with runes on chain, or you can trade kind of base tokens, or you could participate in DeFi and NFTs across both ecosystems. I haven't really seen any AI agents trading NFTs, but that is also something that we're looking for them to enter as well, because obviously with non-fungibility, there's quite a large variety of different types of unique interactions that the agent can have on chain, whereas fungible tokens is you're kind of limited to a handful of things. So that is the very exciting part. Should be interesting to see what happens over the next month or so, and then I think once we hit January, Emblem AI and Tensorium will hit the ground running, and it does seem like there's a lot of other teams that are kind of again circulating around the same ideas here.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy, to go back on how fast this is all moving, right? In July or August, we had Goatsy, and it was an AI agent that came up with its own tweets, and they were posted by its owner. And now, a few months later, the AI agents can have a bit of agency, memory, cross-chain wallets, and full integrations into X. And if you verify their X, then they can have actual income. So the AIs can be earning their own revenue, having agency on what they spend the money on, and get it on chain and distribute it across different blockchains, all in a couple of months. And so if we take that timeline and we extrapolate it out a bit further, where are we going to be in 3, 6, 9 months? I mean, this space is going to move at breakneck speed. So crazy to watch. And I mean, it's great to be a part of it.
Yeah, there is, even outside of kind of the speculative tokens. So IPA always says that BlackRock has an AI agent. I don't know if you guys saw Polymarket has integrated AI as well. They have like an AI trader, and they also have analytics where you can go to Polymarket and it'll give you kind of like recent news information on what's happening with the world. So it does seem like, there's more to this of speculation. I mean, some of the things that we've kind of theorized is like, you could build an AI agent. I'll just use Emblem Vault as an example. Right, we can integrate an AI agent, whether that's Hustle or somebody else, into the platform that basically you just tell it how to mint. You just tell it to mint a vault for you. You tell it where to move, and you could basically just have these like type commands on Emblem Vision instead of having to go through the clicking process. You basically just say, "Hey, take this asset, send it here, and then mint it to this chain," right? Or execute different types of transactions or do conditional transactions as well. Obviously, that's a little bit ahead into the future, but that's kind of the way that we're seeing it. Is you have this kind of you have this infrastructure layer, right? For us, it's Emblem Vault and Emblem technology, and then you have kind of this incentive layer, which is tokens, right? Which will be Emblem keys, which is how you decentralize the protocol, do rewards, etc. And then on top of that, at the very top, you have the AI agent layer, which is just the kind of automation layer. And if you could build this stack successfully, whether you're Emblem or any other team, I think it makes it like a very kind of fully polished product, and it'll be very hard to defeat, especially once you get people starting to train with these AI agents and build kind of a rapport between them. I do think that's probably where the majority of this is headed. So outside of the AI agent space, I guess number kind of goes up. That seems to be where the majority of the interest is in the space. It's just crazy that the mind share is really just kind of moved over to AI agents. There is kind of this like DeFi narrative that I'm seeing kind of populate, although I think it's going to be largely overshadowed. And I see Adam over there laughing.
I mean, this is the thing. Like Chris maybe mentioned it earlier. It's like it's so much bigger than this, right? AI agents are I mean, this is literally like transformational technology. This is going to I mean, unless something happens and okay, we hit the top of what agents can do, but that is not what like the professionals and the people in the space are saying, right? They're saying you put more compute into these things, they get smarter and smarter. And right now the agents are at like 110 IQ, and soon they're going to be at 160, and soon they're going to be smarter than, the smartest human ever. And soon they're going to be smarter than all humans combined, right? To think like we get to play around in that space where we get to build the stuff that happens. I mean, we're actually thinking too small for these things right now. It's actually too small. Which is crazy. Like, honestly, I don't think I've ever felt this bullish in crypto.
I personally haven't seen Adam this bullish on anything since I've worked with him for 2 years.
I mean, and I get bullish, right? I mean, I get really bullish on crypto. This is the next level. This is like, okay, these agents are basically going to run the world. That's my current theory. They're going to run the world. And how is the payment layer structure going to happen? And if we can somehow empower individuals to own a piece of that, that piece of that payment layer, holy smackers, bro. This is the new Visa, but way more important and way more powerful than the new Visa. So yeah, am I bullish? I'm freaking bullish as fuck.
Bullish. So I pinned to the top the Tensorium account. If you guys want to follow that account and stay in tune with what's going on over there, right? That's what Shannon's kind of leading the charge with that. If you'll hop in the Telegram, you could kind of see some of the discussion. I know there's a lot. I'd recommend going into some of the other ones as well to kind of just observe and see what's going on, looking for the trends. It'll be interesting, maybe a year from now to see if anyone was able, or if anyone's been successful at kind of automating these bots for DeFi, for example. Like one of the conversations I continue to have is on Wall Street, they have algorithms, right? And algo trading has been around for decades at this point. And it's just very, I guess automated is the right word. It's just like they're performing their set of transactions and there's no adjustment from the algo that's happening. The main differentiator, at least this is from the conversations I've had, is that AI agents can have memory. And this is what we're embedding into the agent hustle, to where it can remember, past results of the behavior that it enacts. And so essentially what you're going to see is this kind of like algo-based trading is going to be upgraded to agent-based trading, to where they can now make decisions based off of past results, which I think is the main kind of differentiator here. And you can have things, let's go ahead.
Like memory and also agency. So you can point it at like maybe 3 different parameters, maybe social interactions, volume and dollar kind of transactions, and maybe one other. And you can kind of outline, different ranges for each, and it can have the agency to choose which assets it's leaning into within those parameters. Whereas kind of automation, it would just be kind of binary outcomes. Does this fulfill this? Does this fulfill this? But it doesn't have any actual agency to choose if, one parameter kind of exceeds the others, and then it should take the trade or whatnot. So having the agency on top of kind of the parameters is what the real unlock is here.
Yeah, you think about it, like some of the low hanging fruit, I'll just use as an example, is like yield optimization, where you have these, yield farmers who have to consistently sit there and manage their positions, right? If you're LPing on Uniswap, if it starts getting out of range, right, you have to basically rebalance that yield position so that you don't suffer impermanent loss. But if you can basically just have an agent do that, you basically increase the efficiency of the market. And it almost becomes this situation of AI agents versus MEV botters. I could kind of see, which will be interesting to see kind of how that goes down. But it just brings more efficiency to the market, and retail can essentially come in and have a more fair shot at this. It's not just going to be kind of gated by gigabrain level devs. One of the things with Emblem AI, which we would like to do, we'll see how it goes, is if you have a successful wallet that can do all these different types of transactions, if we created an AI agent marketplace that attached to it, and you can just have users come in and choose if they want like a yield optimization agent, right, or a trading agent or a copy trader or whatever, you could basically just come in, set the parameters, and attach it to the wallet and really kind of participate there. That's still like a big unknown, but the trading bot industry is like a multi-billion-dollar industry. So if that came on chain and it was accessible to retail, it seems like a very kind of large opportunity there to create a more fair playground.
It seems like AI agent. I mean, we're in obviously the step one of that, but it just feels like AI agents will solve the complexity of crypto for the average user, where I just log in, my face, whatever, secure way, and the AI agent just kind of manages stuff like this invisible layer, which we've talked about, the entire time we've been part of Emblem and thought about for years previously. Like the agents actually solve this layer, which is, I mean, for all of crypto, this is a very good thing.
And, for Emblem, these are big visions, but really we're just building the same thing that we've been building for the past couple of years anyways. We're building cross-chain infrastructure that can kind of interact with these agents in the most efficient way possible. And that's what Emblem is at its core. We have the best cross-chain infrastructure that trades bearer assets across chains. And so really kind of passing through and creating this Emblem AI wallet and really allowing for these interactions to take place cross-chain is the biggest unlock. And so luckily we've been building in that direction for many years, and this is like one of the best applications that we could have ever dreamed of.
Yeah, I have a final note here, and then maybe we'll wrap it up. I just saw a post that says the AI agent infrastructure wars are heating up. It says that Andy and Truth Terminal are building Loria, which is an infinite backrooms on steroids, which basically says multiple agents will have the ability to interact with each other and stream data to themselves for fine tuning. Zerbro is launching their ELIZA competitor called ZerPay, plus their own LLM, right? This is just like an agent framework. So, for example, Agent Hustle was built off the ELIZA framework, but Shannon used a very small portion of it. So if you go to eliza.world or elizas.world, that's like the ELIZA agent tracker. Agent Hustle is it's called the small category, where it's just use a small kind of piece of it because Shannon's built most of its custom code. It says AI 16Z, ELIZA adoption is exploding. And then they announced today their OS system. And then Virtuals is launching a game framework sandbox, allowing you to simulate agents, right? And then obviously you'll have Emblem in here as well, which would be Agent Hustle is launching Emblem AI, I guess would be the kind of the way to frame it there. So I'll be excited once we have it all live and we could have our name consistently in there as competition. And Adam's just completely insanely bullish. I'm not joking when I said I haven't seen Adam this bullish on anything in the 2 years that we've worked together.
Well, it's like Chris says, man, it's like the pendulum coming back to utility, right? Which I'm a core kind of crypto bull, which is like, I believe this is actually transformative technology. And so who loves meme coins, of course, but at the core, this is about freedom technology. This is about people and the future. And so, yeah, it gets me, this hits everything. And so, yeah, I don't know how, if you're not bullish on this, like, I get it. It's meme coins. Who cares about the latest AI meme coin? of course, I get you not being excited about that. But if you're not using LLMs in your daily life, like I use it all day long now, right? It's transformative just for writing text, right? And you realize that it's images, it's videos, it's everything. It's trading, it's maintaining wallets, it's banking, it's literally everything it's going to touch in life. So if that doesn't get you excited, bro, you are in the wrong industry.
It's got Nintendo.
It's got Nintendo.
It's got Animal Crossing.
We didn't even talk about bells. Nobody came on stage to talk about bells, but it is.
It's got $sign bells will change everything. RIP to Hard Rock Nick, man. That was what a legend. All those cameos are immortalized forever. Yep. So I hope you guys are bullish on AI agents. A lot of stuff coming from the Emblem side and our I guess our AI division, so to speak. Strap up. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please make sure you follow the Emblem account because we host a show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be back tomorrow with who do we have on tomorrow?
Tomorrow, let's see. Thursday, we got Kane. Kane's coming on. He's got his drop coming up. I think his drop is next Tuesday. They pushed it back a little bit, but Kane's going to dive into what it's all about. And a good friend of the show. So good to see Kane tomorrow.
Yeah, he absolutely is. So please, everyone, make sure that you follow the account. Hop into the Tensorium at Telegram. Follow that account so you can stay in tune there. We'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, everyone have a safe Wednesday. Oh, and we'll be on the Ordinal show later today with Shannon to talk about Emblem Vault keys and Emblem's expansion campaign. So you'll learn a lot more then, and we'll share that information. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.